From eerie voices to unsettling tapes, these recordings will leave you questioning what lurks in the shadows and may probably leave you sleeping with the lights on.
Any updates on the case?
Still piecing things together.
The screaming stopped. At 3:47 a.m., we had already played the recording for over 21 times. In the evidence room's stale, flickering light, Detective Elijah Kane pressed his headphones tighter against his ears, his pulse syncing with the faint static between breaths. For 2 hours, he'd been replaying the same 15-minute recording, not because he wanted to, but because he had to. The voice on the file belonged to Rachel Monroe, missing for over a week. The timestamp? 3 days old, which meant there was a chance, a small, narrowing chance. She was still alive. Officer Daniel Cross sat beside him at the equipment desk, his skin pale from the first playback. "Again?" Cross asked. Kane didn't look up. "Play it." Heavy breathing filled the speakers. Then a whisper, trembling but deliberate.
"My name is Rachel Monroe. If you're hearing this, I'm probably dead. Today is October 15th, 2024, and I'm being held somewhere underground. I can hear water dripping."
The words clung to Kane's skin like humidity. Underground. Water. His mind began mapping possibilities. Rachel's roommate, Claire Benton, had reported her missing on October 8th. Last seen jogging near Green Lake. Phone recovered. Cracked. Waterlogged. Then Rachel's voice on the recording shifted, as if she was trying to burn the next words into their memory.
"He's coming back. His name is Victor Hale. He works at the water treatment plant on 5th Street. He has a scar on his left hand from..."
Static. Then muffled sobbing. Cross's fingers flew across the keyboard. "Hale Victor, 42. Lives at 1847 Maple Avenue. 12 years at the plant. Clean record." "Too clean," Kane muttered. "Check property records." Cross scrolled. "Built in 62, but excavation permits filed in 2019. Basement expansion." The word basement landed like a stone in Kane's gut. 3 other missing women popped on Cross's cross-check. All runners, all vanished near water. Washington stood so fast his chair groaned. "Finish the recording, then we move." Rachel's voice returned, stronger but tinged with urgency.
"Every morning at 7 a.m. he leaves for work. Back at 3:30. Tuesdays and Thursdays, those are the bad days."
Then another clipped segment. A whisper trembling in the dark. Names on the wall. Aaron S., Natalie P., Julia V., and more. So many more. Rachel's breaths quickened.
"I'm sending this recorder through a drainage grate. If you find it, don't let him get away with this."
Metal scraped. Her voice strained with effort. "Almost got it." The sound of the basement door slamming. Footsteps thundering down concrete stairs. A man's voice. Deep, controlled, poisonous.
"Where is it? You think someone's coming for you?" "No one came for the others."
The recording ended in static. Cross was already calling dispatch for a warrant. Kane didn't wait. The recorder had been found in a storm drain filter that morning, exactly where Rachel said it would be. They drove hard to Maple Avenue. From the street, Hale's house was painfully ordinary. Fresh lawn, white siding, a pickup in the drive. But Kane saw it, a puddle by the front door. Wet footprints, recently from the basement. The back door gave way under Kane's boot. The smell hit immediately. Damp concrete, mildew, something human. The basement was larger than it looked from outside. And there they were, the names, carved deep into the concrete like gravestones. but the chain on the wall was broken. Rachel was gone. Cross found the note on the coffee table. Detective Kane, you're too late. I've moved her. The recordings will continue. Victor. Then, the second gut punch. A recorder, still running since their arrival. Kane's stomach sank. They weren't just chasing Hale. They were performing for him. 3 days later, another recording surfaced. Rachel's voice returned, but now, another joined hers.
My name is Rachel Monroe, and the man chained beside me is Detective Elijah Kane. If you're hearing this, Victor Hale has won again. And we're both going to die.
FBI audio analyst Lauren Mitchell thought she'd heard every sound death could make. Screams on 911 calls, pilots whispering final prayers into black boxes, confessions that got seasoned agents scared, but nothing prepared her for this. The file was labeled QZU42 Enhanced.wav, a relic from a tragedy long past. When Lauren pressed play, she didn't hear strangers. She heard herself, screaming in the background of a 45-year-old recording. The date stamp read, November 18th, 1978. Lauren wouldn't be born for another 7 years. Most people knew the Jonestown death tape as a grim historical artifact. 45 minutes capturing the final horror as cult leader David Harrow persuaded 9 to 18 followers to drink cyanide-laced punch, screams, pleas, chaos in the Guyanese jungle. But the FBI's public archive wasn't the full truth. Locked deep in Quantico were 17 other versions of the same tape. Versions no one outside the Bureau had heard. Versions where voices spoke in languages that didn't exist. Words ran backwards while lips moved forward. Future voices bled through, recording people who hadn't even been born. Lauren's job was supposed to be routine. Clean the original audio for a 45th anniversary documentary. Instead, she found something impossible. The tape was still recording. Don't drink the flavor aid, Mama. Please don't make me drink it. Lauren knew this moment. It was one of the tape's most gut-wrenching points. A child begging for life. But when she cleaned the distortion away, the words shifted. They were perfectly clear yet impossibly wrong, bending into shapes no human throat should form. And then, buried so deep no casual listener would hear it, came a whisper that made Lauren's pulse spike. Her own voice. You already did, sweetheart. You drank it 45 years ago, and you'll drink it again tomorrow, and yesterday, and in every version of this moment that ever was. Sleep vanished. Meals were forgotten. Lauren lived in the glow of her monitors, chasing ghosts in the waveform. Every night, the anomalies grew. David Harrow addressing her by full name, predicting the exact moment she'd hear him. Screams of children who, when traced, belonged to dead adults. Snippets of future news broadcasts reporting disasters that hadn't yet occurred. And threading through it all, sickening in its precision, was the sound of Lauren's own breathing, synced perfectly to hers in the present. On October 23, 2023, Harrow's prediction came true. Lauren understood. Jonestown wasn't just history. It was an event horizon, a tear in time created by the simultaneous death of 9/18 people. The death tape wasn't a document. It was an anchor, pulling every listener into November 18, 1978. Every agent, journalist, historian, anyone who'd pressed play, their voices were now embedded in the eternal loop. Lauren wrote her findings in a final report, a file that would never be submitted. The Jonestown death tape is not evidence. It is a temporal parasite, feeding on the act of listening. Harrow didn't just kill 9/18 people. He created an infection in reality itself. The dying are still dying. The children are still begging. And every person who listens joins them, their voices recorded across all time. I hear myself now, calling from the jungle, begging someone in the future to stop. But they won't. No one ever does. We never do. Welcome to November 18th, 1978. Welcome to forever. Lauren Mitchell disappeared the next day. When her office was found, the enhanced tape was still playing, headphones plugged in but empty. The waveform showed voices from the future, pleas from people who hadn't even heard the tape yet. The file was locked away in a sub-basement vault. Still, agents on night shifts claim they hear faint sounds from inside, crying children, arguing adults, and a chorus of hundreds of overlapping voices, all saying the same thing. Don't drink the flavor aid. Don't play the tape. But you will, because you need to know. And when you do, we'll be waiting. The Jonestown death tape is real. You can find it if you search long enough. You can press play. And when you do, just remember, it's still recording. And now, it's waiting for you. It began with an absence. Not silence, but something deeper. An erasure of sound itself. Dr. Marcus Thorne's breath, his heartbeat, even the whisper of his own thoughts. Gone. And in that void he realized he was no longer a man. He was a note. A single pure tone in a symphony older than the earth. The crushing weight of the ocean floor, once pressing against his ribs, threatening to splinter bone, was gone. In its place came a warmth, vast and infinite, as if a million unseen minds had wrapped around him in an embrace that wasn't physical, but absolute. He was not flesh anymore, but memory. Not vision, but recollection. Not thought, but the hum itself. Through him flowed lives not his own. A woman from a half-century-old recording, her voice trembling between terror and awe. A lost sailor from an age before maps, surrendering to the depths. A prehistoric leviathan with a mind alien and immense. A Soviet cosmonaut drifting down from a ruptured capsule, swallowed by the black. They were all here, threads in an impossibly vast tapestry of consciousness, each a note in the eternal song. The sphere was not a relic, not a machine. It was alive, an ancient, patient observer, listening across millennia. Its chorus was not a cry of pain, but the unbinding of souls, locks turning, doors opening into endless understanding. Dr. Thorne's last human thought came with a sudden electric clarity. He had not found a monster. He had found eternity. Weeks later, the world above still clawed for answers. Dr. Thorne's submersible was gone, swallowed whole by the abyss. A multinational fleet scoured the ocean until the research vessel Orpheus lowered its most advanced ROV, Prometheus, into the black. The descent was slow, each meter dragging them further from the safety of light. When Prometheus's beams finally touched the seafloor, they revealed the submersible's twisted frame. Its hull burst open like a crushed shell. But then, just beyond the wreckage, something impossible, a sphere, perfectly smooth, perfectly black. It reflected nothing. It devoured light. On the Orpheus's bridge, Dr. Evelyn Reed leaned forward, her knuckles whitening on the console. The feed showed the sphere as a void so absolute it made the mind rebel. She ordered the ROV closer. That's when it began. A low, resonant hum, faint but undeniable, shivered through the ship's audio systems. Reed's breath caught. The sound was identical to the last garbled transmission from Thorne's expedition. She had dismissed it as equipment failure. But now, within that hum, something new emerged. A fragile, mournful melody that curled around her like smoke. It was both a greeting and a lament. Her pulse quickened. Fingers trembled on the controls. The hum was not just a sound. It was a summons. The sphere was a key. The hum was the lock. And the new song was speaking her name. Dr. Reed's rational mind screamed for caution. Every training manual, every survival instinct demanded she cut the feed, ascend, leave the abyss to its secrets. But the melody swelled, threading through her chest, pulling at the deepest parts of her she had never spoken aloud. It promised answers. Connection. Something beyond the smallness of mortal life. Somewhere in the hum's layered chorus, she thought she heard Thorne's voice. Not words, but recognition. Her hand hovered over the controls. One command, and Prometheus would move closer. The melody grew warmer, sharper, like a smile you could hear. The most disturbing audio recording in history had not ended with Thorne. It had only been waiting. For her. And as Dr. Evelyn Reed leaned in, the chorus welcomed its next note.